Hello, Miss Reagan. Let's start this math lesson. All right, today we are on lesson 3, chapter 5. This is just a review from yesterday. It says round each decimal to the nearest 1 and then add or subtract. Okay, so let's look to the nearest 1. So we're going to look in the ones column. I'm going to look at my 3. Am I going to bump it up or keep it the same? 3. I'm going to drop it off, right? So I'm going to have 5 plus, let's look at my next one. I have 6.1 tenths. Look at my 6, look at my 1. Am I going to bump it up or drop it off? It's a 1, so I'm going to drop it off. 5 plus 6 is 11. Let's look at number 2. We have some thousands place numbers. Okay, we're going to look at our ones column and look at our tenths column where the decimal is. See if we're going to bump it up or drop it off. Okay, we have 1,319.2 We're going to look at our 9 and we're going to look at our 2. Okay, our 2 is, we are going to drop it off. So we have 1,319 plus, then I have 8,640 decimal 7 tenths. My 7, I'm going to bump it up and I'm going to make it 8,641. What does that equal? Well, I think we are going to have to add this up and down, because Mrs. Wiley does not know that in her head. Okay, we have 1,319 plus 8,641. 9 plus 1 gives me 10. Put my 0, carry my 1. 1 plus 1 gives me 2, plus 4 more is 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. And 8 plus 1 is 9. So our answer is 9,960. We're going to do a subtraction problem. Mrs. Wiley is going to start the lesson. We have 50.3 minus 26.1. Let's look at our ones column and our tenths. Is my 3 going to bump it up or drop it off? We're going to drop it off in this case because 3 is smaller than 5. So we have 50 minus, look at my ones column and my tenths column. I have a 6 and a 1, 1. Am I going to bump it up or drop it off? I'm going to drop it off. What is making this a 26? 50 minus 26 is going to give me 24 for my answer. All right, so that was your little review today, and Mrs. Wiley is going to get started with the lesson. Okay, so follow along with me in your papers as I read this. Mrs. Strainer needs to purchase a classroom response clicker and a new calculator. A clicker costs $31.99 and a calculator costs $11.75. About how much money will she buy? Okay, let's underline our important information. We have $31.99 and $11.75. First, we need to understand it. What do we know? We know how much the calculator costs and how much the clicker costs. And what do we need to find out? We need to find out how much they cost together. So we need to find the cost of both items, and we can estimate to figure this out. Okay, so we're going to solve. First, we're going to estimate $31.99. We're going to look at our 1. We're going to look to the nearest whole dollar. So we're going to look in our ones column. I have 31, I have a 9. Am I going to bump it up or drop it off? Bump it up. Bump it up, bump it up. this is going to become a 32. Next, I have $11.75. I'm going to look at my ones column and my tenths column. 7, bump it up, drop it off. We're going to bump this one up too. So now I have 32. 32 plus 12. 32 plus 12, 2 plus 2 gives me 4, and 1 plus 3 gives me another 4. So my answer is $44. They spent about $44 on these two items. One second, Mrs. Bliley needs to delete everything. I wonder if there's a giant eraser around here. Maybe there is. Oh, look at that. Okay, so now we're going to check our work. Is it reasonable? $40 is about, or $42 is about equal to $44. We are correct. Okay, here's another problem. Practice the strategy. Madison drove to her grandparents' house. They drove 58.6 miles in the first hour and 67.2 miles in the second hour and 60 miles in point decimal 5/10 miles in the third hour. They followed the same route to return home. About how far did Madison travel? Well, what do we know? We know that the family drove 58.6 mile, or excuse me, decimal 6/10 of a mile, 67 decimal 2/10 of a mile, and 60 decimal 5/10 of a mile. What do we need to find? We need to find how far did they travel. So what is our plan going to be? We probably need to, if we need to figure out all of them together, we probably need to add. How are we going to solve this? So we are going to estimate 58 decimal 6/10 is closer to 60 than 50. 67.2 decimal 2/10 is closer to 70. 60 decimal 5/10 is closer to 60 or 70. 60. And then we're going to add 0 plus 0 plus 0 gives me 0. 6 plus 7 gives me 13. Plus 6 more gives me 19, 190. Then we're going to add from there and back. So we're going to add 192 times to give us 800, or excuse me, 380 miles. Okay, let's check for reasonableness. They drove about 60 miles each hour for about 6 hours. We're going to multiply 60 times 6 to give us 360, which is a reasonable estimate. All right, Mrs. Bliley would like you to try numbers 1 through 5 for today. If you have any problems, please come to our support time at what time do we get together? 12:45, or give me a comment below and I will help you any way I can. Have a fabulous day.